Today I want to take a closer look at Meta platforms, aka Facebook, and Alphabet, aka Google. More importantly, I want to take a closer look at one of their competitions, TikTok, and how it's really kind of being a major headwind for both these companies. Before we go any further, I do want to mention, right, the advertising market is seeing numerous headwinds. If we take a closer look at Meta platforms, the overall Apple iOS changes have definitely impacted the way this company can provide those advertising solutions, and really pushing Facebook to focus into artificial intelligence due to the lack of kind of data that they once were receiving. Now, both Meta platforms and Alphabet are seeing the headwinds of the overall macroeconomics as kind of consumer spending is expected to decrease and prices are going up. Many companies and small business owners are reducing the amount of money they are spending in advertising, causing a slowdown or some form of headwind for future revenue for Alphabet and Meta platforms. Now, the one I want to take a closer look at in today's episode is TikTok, and how this is a company that is truly affecting both Meta platforms and Google. And many might be saying, hey, how is it affecting Google? Many might just think it's just through the shorts, but in all honesty, it's also affecting their search engine to some extent. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
So first, I want to take a closer look at price performance off the 52-week high. We can see Meta platforms is down roughly 57% and Alphabet is down roughly 23%. If we take a closer look at forward EV to EBITDA ratios, we can see Meta platforms is looking pretty cheap at 7.5. Even Alphabet isn't looking so bad at 12.05. I do want to say there are a lot more risk for Meta platforms right now, especially due to those kind of Apple iOS changes that are really impacting the way this company can kind of provide solutions in the advertisement world. Unlike Google, where they do have their own first-party data, so they don't have to rely too much on other users or other third-party information to kind of provide those solutions. At the same time, Meta platforms is also focusing a lot in kind of like virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and even though I personally believe those are the best moves for the company, many might see this as a risk, causing kind of these valuations to decrease. I mean, here we can see overall quarterly year-over-year growth. In the most recent quarter, Meta platforms actually declined in revenue, and Alphabet showed just a small double-digit increase. Finally, if we take a closer look at free cash flow quarterly, we can see that there has definitely been a bit of a slowdown, but they're still positive, which is still pretty impressive. If you are enjoying the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up, as it does help me grow my overall audience and it means the world to me. If you want to support a little bit more, make sure to subscribe using my link at fool.com/Jose. So now let me take a closer look at that competition, TikTok. So most recently on August 23rd, TechCrunch released that TikTok is testing new nearby feed to display local content. At the moment, it does seem like this is only being tested in selected regions in Southeast Asia, but this is, I want to say, one that's gonna affect both Facebook and Google platforms. And let me explain why. Recently, in a recent keynote on July of 2022, the senior vice president of Google definitely noted that there are some risks from TikTok. The executive mentions that in their studies, something like almost 40% of young people, when they're looking for a place for lunch, they don't go to Google Maps or search. They go to TikTok or Instagram. And this is pretty interesting. I recently was just talking to my barber, and he just went to a trip in Mexico, and he showed me some cool locations. And when I asked him how did he find these locations to kind of travel into, he mentioned TikTok. Another close friend of mine just recently traveled to Vegas, and he was thinking of going to certain restaurants. And when I asked him how he found those restaurants, he mentioned TikTok. And this is an eye-opener, right? Because many believe that TikTok is just taking market share in forms of the social media for Meta platforms, in forms of an Instagram, but is also taking market share to some extent, maybe not something dramatically, but from YouTube itself and from like search engine from Google Maps and Google Search. So now if we take a closer look at this nearby feature that TikTok is testing, I could see how this could be another issue, another kind of competition for Google, Instagram, and Facebook. I do want to say nothing here is proprietary, and it's definitely something that YouTube and Meta platforms or Facebook and Instagram can implement to kind of fight this competition. But we are seeing how TikTok continues to kind of provide some form of headwind for these giants. I do want to say there are some good news for Facebook and for YouTube. First, obviously, I am a content creator, so I have to make sure I understand where eyes are at. And usually the places eyes are at is where viewers are at, but also where people are willing to advertise. Because if there's eyes in that platform, advertisers see this as the best return on investments. And I was recently watching a video from Gary Vaynerchuk posted about 13 days ago, and he mentions where he wants to double down on content in 2022. If you're not familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, it's completely understandable, but he's definitely someone who understands the content creation platform. And the number one place where he wants to double down on content is YouTube Shorts and Facebook. Number 2 is TikTok, followed by Instagram. So both as a content creator and as an investor, I find this bullish for YouTube and Facebook, at the end of the day, Meta platforms. And these are companies that are continuing to innovate ways to combat this competition. For example, on July 28th of 2022, there was a video posted by Creator Insiders to talk about the YouTube Shorts and the algorithm. And if we take a closer look at Meta Platforms' most recent earnings, which they posted on July 27th of 2022, Mark Zuckerberg mentioned that it was good to see positive trajectory on their engagement trends this quarter coming from products like Reels and their investment in artificial intelligence. So while TikTok is definitely a headwind for these two companies, they are not standing still. And at the end of the day, I'm still very bullish in Meta Platforms and Google. So let me know in the comments below, did you know that TikTok was such a huge competition for both these players? Take care, have a good day, and see you next time.